Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the Rwagnation League Grand Prix here in Brazil. I'm Ben Raggy McConnell, and joining me, as normal, is Horn Badger. How you doing?
Yeah, I'm really excited to get going. This is the track, you know, Brazil. We're all excited to get racing.
We really are. I mean, in terms of the driver standings, it's already been sorted as to who's going to be the driver's champion. It is Hypers, who's on 325 points before we get to the end of the calendar, and there's no way for anybody to bring it back. Infamous P2, who's not here today. Schneider P3, who's also not here today. But then Brownie P4, Yolta P5, Pampetta P6, Geun P7, Yonti P8, Samidia P9, and Yenab P10. Now, Samidia is in a much better position than Yenab currently, but there is still an opportunity for the top 10 to change just slightly, as Wemmels is there, Zones is there, Danico is there, Copy just chilling. They are a bit further out, more than likely not going to be able to pull it back here unless they have a miracle run, but there is still a chance. Beaker P16, Hayes P17, Dennis 18th, Safsa 19th, tied with him is 20th Dan. Mercedes, they've also taken the constructors. They've got the double whammy. They're living up to how it is in the official F1, and Haas in P2. A little bit out of the ordinary, 309 points. Racing Point in P3. They're very close to the back, so P2 is still very much to play for. Renault P4, Toro Rosso P5, Alfa P6, Ferrari P7, and the rest. This is the circuit. This is a very legendary circuit with 15 turns, 2.6 miles, and 2 DRS zones. There are lots of tow opportunities here. You've got the run in towards turn 1, which is a huge back-end run, but Yonti's going to show you exactly how to do this track. So there's turn 1. You got to brake it just as you see the safety car board on the right first, and get yourself through. Make sure you run through turn 1, 2, and 3 is clear, because you need a really good exit coming in towards the straight for turn 4. Bear this in mind, DRS open, there's an opportunity to attack here. This is very likely going to happen, especially when you come into the race. There's turn 4, and then quickly after is turn 5. This is another little sprint here up to an uphill section for a double right-hander, 6 and 7. Make sure you don't go too wide on the exit of 7, because you will invalidate or get penalties, as Yonti just keeps himself in it. Now 8 here, coming into a tight left-hander, for 9. And then it's a very uphill, awkward scenario as you come in towards turn 10 and braking into turn 11. Make sure that your exit here is good, because you can't get it wrong as you go around this long left-hander. If you run out just a bit too wide, you will be in big trouble coming into the final proper corner, as this from now on will be flat out. So there is a bit of a kink here on the left, and even more so coming up in just a second, but this is where the DRS gets activated right here. Lots of tow opportunities even before this point to make sure you get the running in towards the home straight and all the way across the line to secure, hopefully for some of these guys, a really good point scoring position. Now, we are slightly early. We have got everybody in the lobby. We are about to get going in just a second, but I do want to just talk about how close we are coming towards the end of the season and how close we are coming towards the new game. Obviously, F1 2020 is on the horizon. Obviously, coronavirus has decided to screw the official calendar up a little bit, and that's kind of made it very awkward from the majority of the season. So we do now have the official F1 coming back, which is going to be tremendous, and I think in just over a week's time. We'll get to see some proper on-track racing in the F1 cars. I don't know about you, but I really can't wait to see that go down. But, you know, we also have the game coming out soon. It's going to feature the new tracks like Zandvoort and obviously Hanoi as well, which is going to be a really exciting experience for a lot of the drivers. And I want to see who can really take to it. Obviously, there is going to be some announcements coming out soon as to the next season of the Rwagnation League and how the qualifiers are going to work out and how you can sign up yourself. They are going to be slightly tweaked going into it, so some good positive changes coming into Season 5. And who'd have thought, I'd have said, you know, give it about 6 or 7 months ago, I didn't think we were going to be in a position where Season 5 was going to be a thing, and now it's right here upon us. But we are now going into the qualifying session for Brazil, and it wouldn't be me if I didn't do it. So I'm going to ask you, bearing in mind that it's raining in the qualifying, what's your top 3 prediction?
I mean, you managed to find that out much faster than I did. I wasn't even loaded in yet. Yeah, I think, to be honest, I'm gonna stick Hypers up there on P1. I think that's always a good shout. I'm feeling quite good that you know, Yenab's had quite a bit of pace in the last race, but Summerit as well. I think I'll stick Summerit in P2, and an outside bet for P3. Safso has promised me a surprise today. I don't know what this surprise could be, so I'm feeling confident. I'm going to stick him in P3.
I mean, that would be a hell of a surprise if he did do that. I mean, he has got pace. I do like Safso. I have a lot of love for him, both in the race and outside of it too. I would like to see him secure some really good positions. He has had some really good solid battles as well, which has been really great to see. We have had Pampernick, who has disconnected from the qualifying and now rejoined. However, I don't see his car on the left-hand side, which makes me think he's not going to be able to actually do the qualifying unless we did a re-host. So we'll see what the league coordinators decide to do. We'll come back to that in a second, but both Mercedes boys out already. Yeah, we are going to go for a re-host, it looks like. I think we have to really. Pampernick couldn't get in here. Yeah, we are going for a re-host. So that's good. It means that everyone will get their opportunity to do the qualifying, but it also means we get to talk a little bit more about this surprise. So, what's he promised?
A surprise. That's all he's told me. I don't know anything. It might just be that he's, I mean, he's told me he's changed his helmet, so maybe it's just going to be a helmet change. But yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited to see what he does because this is this could be exciting. A wee cheeky surprise from Saf. So I'm looking forward to it, whatever it is.
Now, if it is a helmet change, it could be just something really simple, like he's just put the Scottish flag on his helmet as a nice little surprise for you specifically.
See, that's what I said to him as well, and he said no. So I'm not sure. We'll maybe see something, but I'm going to be hounding him all race, trying to figure out what his surprise is. I'm just going to. That's right, Saf. So you are going to be permanently on cam.
Good. Pressure definitely where he needs it. It's going to be. So I have been told it's going to be a wet qualifying session, but a dry race. So obviously, in terms of strategy, they can choose whatever tires they want when we get into the race. Because with the wet qualifying, there's no need to start the race on whatever tires they qualify on this time, which is good. It means that they can really just give it everything, and they don't have to be any sort of reservations at all. They don't have to worry about what they're going to do when it comes to the race. But it does mean that there is an opportunity for a lot of strategy variances to take part. If we do see somebody go for a hards to a softs, maybe, I'd be very surprised if we did, because softs mediums is actually really quite easy to do here. We may see potentially a two-stop. I'd be very, very surprised if we did, just purely because the tires are very comfortable, but when it comes towards the end of the stint, they will be a little bit squirrely, especially coming through 6, 7. You'll start to have a bit of some scary moments there, maybe even a couple of code browns as you go through, especially into the final sector. That long left-hander can really be a trouble. In the qualifying session, you got the rain. That final left-hander that is that you flat out throughout, especially in the dry conditions, it can be very twitchy if your car's not stable enough. If you have just a little bit too much focus on the rear of the car and all the load seems to be there, you can just step out the back end and say goodbye to your race. But this is the sort of drivers where that won't really happen. They are really solid drivers, really quick when it comes to their pace, and I'd like to see how close we can get to really, really insane qualifying lap times.
Yeah, I mean, as we saw in the F2s, no mistakes can happen. So I wouldn't rule out no one being able to, make a mistake. It's always the chance that, the car might snap and get, especially if you're qualifying in the wet, if you just touch the curb the wrong way, it's quite easy to just have the back end spin it. I mean, you saw Max Verstappen on that final turn with a heroic save, I will add, but he lost it all the way down that straight and got caught out by the wet conditions. So there's a chance that these guys will make a mistake and potentially ruin their qualifying from it, but we just have to wait and see.
We do indeed. Now, the lobby has been reset up. We are about to get back underway in just a moment. So apologies for the technical issue. Sadly, Pampernick's game did crash and he did have to rejoin, but didn't get an opportunity to take control of his car again, so he would have missed the entirety of qualifying, which would have been unfair, realistically, for something out of his control. So the beeps do obviously signify that we are about to get back into this qualifying session. Wet qualifying followed by a dry race. It's going to be all to play for. And just a reminder, what's your 1, 2, 3?
I put Hypers up there, P1. I put who did I put? I put somebody at P2, and it's my boy Safso. It's P3.
See, I wish that you're right. I do, because I have so much love for Safso. I just don't believe. I don't believe in fairies. I don't. And unfortunately, I don't think he's going to be able to get maybe even anywhere near it. I think probably maybe a P10, P9. I hope he shuts my mouth up big style. I really, really hope he does. but he is up against some strong drivers. You know, the likes of Brownie, who has got a very good history here in this circuit. He's also the strategy man, where he will push intermediates if he was in the wet conditions to a huge level. We might even see them do the same thing on mediums, to be truthfully honest. We'll have to monitor it as we go into the race. But, I mean, look how many people are coming out. 5 cars already out on the circuit, and the first of which is an Alpha.
Yeah, there's... I mean, I think once you in the game set the conditions are pretty stable throughout the lobby, so there shouldn't be any. And there's a surprise from Safso, instant retirement. Okay then. So there's my P3. Someone else can take that.
I believe he has a quali ban, I think, is why he's retired.
Ah, right. Yes, of course. Baited into that, wasn't I? Baited.
A little bit. I'll let you change it. Go on.
No, I'm sticking. He's going to somehow still manage to get P3. Everyone else is going to completely
P5
bottle.
right now, so good luck with that.
Yeah. So. But yeah, I think if I throw that in, Pan Pernick, I'll say, has got a good chance to get P3. So.
See, Pan Pernick, someone I actually really, really enjoy to watch. Not always the cleanest of drivers. We've seen him go for some big attacks, especially like Mexico, for example. We saw him go for some huge lunges, and it definitely didn't work out for him. But he's got that pace. He's got that promise. He's got the skill to be really, really successful when it comes to these league races. He just needs to rein it in a little bit. He reminds me of Max Verstappen of 2018, the first half of 2018, where he was very fast, very aggressive, fired up, wanting to constantly prove himself to everybody. And it wasn't until the second half of 2018 where Max Verstappen realized, actually, I don't have to be so bloody aggressive. I can actually just control my pace, control my race, and then go into it with a really positive mindset. And it comes out much stronger than he's ever done before. And suddenly, everybody's singing his praises, saying he's now World Championship material. Pan Pernick is that kind of guy. He reminds me of someone very much filling in those sorts of shoes, can really take to these drivers should he want to, but he has to rein it in. He has to keep it clean and consistent and make sure he doesn't get these penalties from either sending it too deep, from contact, from just running off too wide on the circuit and getting invalidated laps and track penalties. And it's all these minor little things he just has to fix, and he becomes god tier.
Yeah, I mean, as you say, Max Verstappen definitely had that kind of negativity around him from a lot of the fans and a lot of, I suppose, a lot of other drivers in the paddock who knew he was quick, but they weren't too keen on how he was racing. And even last year, Charles Leclerc definitely had issue with how Max was driving and how aggressive he was being into certain turns, especially in Austria. So, yeah, if Pan Pernick, I mean, there he sets an absolutely brilliant first banker lap there, 2/10 faster than Simulator, but then Hypers again, just 500s faster than that as well. So, Pan Pernick's definitely got the pace, and he's definitely able to control the car under these conditions. He just needs to, as you say, tighten up those wheel battles a little bit and make sure he's not kind of taking liberties with the track limits.
Yeah, exactly, and that's perfect. I mean, it's good. He's got the promise. He's got the potential. He just needs to unlock it. And it's the same boat for a few of the other drivers here too. Zones, for example. When I first heard of Zones, he blew me away by how fast he was. I have not seen that level of pace in quite a while, and it's down to, I think, lack of practice. I think it's down to lack of care for the game anymore. I think he's lost the interest. Doesn't quite want to put as much time into the game as he did before, and that's kind of affected his pace quite drastically. Granted, he is still a very quick driver, and I don't think we can ever take that away from him. Just I'd like to see that little bit more. I want to see some fire in him, and right now he's delivered that. A 1:17.039 puts him P3. He's only just over a tenth between him and the current pole sitter Vorce Hypers. I want to see someone else get up there as well. Brownie, P5 right now, 1:17.3. He's quick, but he's not being quick enough, and it's sad. It's sad. Brownie, it was always someone I could rely on to be captain consistency for qualifying, captain consistency for race, and actually nail those podiums. He's struggling. He's really struggling.
Yeah, I mean, how tough the field is certainly, it caught a lot of drivers off. Yalta retired there as well.
Bottas Gang and Yalta had contact, it looks like, because they've both retired at the same corner. Bottas Gang had an issue through turn 5. Yalta, I think, was behind him and also ended up in the same boat. And now they're both retired. And I don't think they're going to be even in the top 10 when we come towards the end of the session. That's tragic.
Yep, that's worrying for those guys. I mean, I don't actually. I'm trying to see if there, potentially if there's anything else nearby. But I couldn't catch to see what the connection was that they had. But yeah, they're certainly going to be starting towards the back end of this field once everyone sets in their second lap times. So that's unfortunate for those guys.
So I've been told that the contact was Bottas crashed and Yalta got collected. So yeah, it's sad, but it does happen. And you know what? I need to start doing this more often. Every time I slate someone by any stretch of the imagination, they immediately chuck in really solid laps, like immediate slaps to the faces. I literally said Pampernick needs to bring himself in. Goes ahead and does that. 16.959 right behind Veloce Hypers. I was literally then saying the same thing about Brownie, saying he's struggling. He then goes in and slaps to 116.886. Whilst I'm at it, just chilling. He's really not having a great time at the minute. At 117.648. I'd like to see more from him, please.
Yeah, definitely. Although you have tried this with Bika, and Bika's still yet to slap you in the face. Surprisingly, seeing as he usually takes every opportunity to do so.
Yeah.
But yeah, back to Brownie. He's definitely one of the guys that you look at as being like potentially surprised at how strong the field is, and right up, as you say, he's got the consistency, he's got the pace, and from normal races, he is always up at the top end of the field. But just because of how tight this pack is and how strong the competition is, you see him more lingering kind of around P5 and 6 a lot of the times, and maybe trying some alternate strategies to bring himself further up. But certainly I don't think it's anything to do with a lack of ability from him. He's certainly an incredible driver, as we can see just now. That's a great lap time he's put in, but we'll see if he's able to actually hold on to it. But he has lost his teammate, who he would usually be doing the tow with, so I'm not too sure if that time was set with a bit of a slipstream, but if it was, he's not going to have that for his next attempt.
He's definitely not. Gooby though, he's coming towards the end of his hot lap. This will be the first time on the board, and it's not invalidated, or at least my graphic is not telling me it's invalidated. We'll see. As he comes through the line, he will slot into a P11 with a 117.628. Pretty close to the back of Danico, but not quite close enough. We do also have Veloce Hypers, who's out on a hot lap right now. He does have a McLaren on his back end. That is Zones, who's on an out lap. Hypers looks like he's lagging a fair bit, so that might affect his hot lap. We'll see.
Yep, I was thinking that the same. Hopefully that's able to be fixed by the race, because it looks very uncomfortable to drive from the offboard.
Well, I mean, he's still going. He was in mode 0 for a little while. He's in mode 2 right now. Maybe he's, I don't know, trying something different? He's very slow. We'll see how he fares off.
Yep, that was a lot slower than his last lap, so definitely something going on there. Hopefully he can fix that. I think he said a couple of weeks ago he got new broadband in his house, didn't he?
Yeah, he's definitely got stable internet. He must have just had a blip there for a moment. We'll see. But I mean, somebody else who actually has been a very hit and miss kind of driver, Yonti. He showed so much promise towards the beginning of the season. He was somebody I really looked to being in the top 3 a lot of the time. Right now, it's, I don't know, like I said, very hit and miss. Sometimes he can feel incredible and actually take it with him onto the circuit. Is he going to feeling like that today? Well, right now it's looking very quick, but it's not. Oh, it is! There you go! New pole position by 4 thousandths of a second, a 116.865. And then Pampernick beats it.
Any other drivers you want to bash today? That,
yeah. Well, I've already said just chilling. I'm yet to see him do anything like that. Who else we got?
Maybe your bashing just doesn't work on the admins. Maybe that's it.
Well, I did say the same thing about Zones, and if the graphic on the right is to be believed, he has just set a purple sector 2. Hypers has gone faster with a 116.755, and Zones is bringing himself back into the pits. Where's Get Earned? Gellend coming to line. He will go P6, 116.974. You do also have a Williams behind, which is just chilling. Can he do what I have just demanded by using reverse psychology and using the whole slapping someone down and then they slap me back?
About to find out, I suppose, as he's going round and up the first straight. It's looking okay so far, nice and clean. Looking a little bit uncomfortable under braking, but obviously the conditions will dictate that as well, so...
yeah. Something to note, though, is the rain has stopped. So
I was thinking that as well.
No further raindrops falling. The track is likely to dry out. We do have 7 minutes remaining of the session, so there is still very, very much a chance here for us to go onto soft tyres, and then all of these times that have been chucked on right now will mean absolutely nothing. They will start be seeing 109s, 108s, maybe 107s if the track dries out fast enough. But we're asking for the rain to just simply evaporate instantly for that to happen.
Yep, which is bad news for Bottas gang. It looked like he was potentially holding on an extra couple of places, but not anymore. And JC is just sliding his back end out of the final corner there. I don't know if he'll actually bother setting this in or no, he's just coming into the pits. So, yeah, we can see, I did see, I think it was some idiot earlier, or he was sitting in the, oh no, I think it was Dennis actually, he was sitting in the pits and he did have soft tyres kind of sitting on, ready to come out, but he switched them back to inters, so it looks like you might need to put those softs back on, because it's certainly looking like it has dried up a little bit out there.
Somebody a little bit of a wobble there coming into the second sector, well, turn 7-8. He's doing okay still, though. He's obviously 1:17.002. He was saying very, very quick lap times, but he has been beaten by a few other drivers ahead of him. The gap is not as big as you would expect, so he doesn't actually have to improve that much, but he does still have to get a move on, and DRS being enabled means that we are going to see dry tyres being put on, and you can see on the left-hand side that is exactly what's happening. Beaker, Zones, Hypers, and Copy have all gone for softs, and they will not be alone, that's for sure.
Nope. To be honest, if I was, you know, Beaker's been sitting there with the softs on for a minute or so now, and obviously now the rest of the drivers are doing that. If I was those drivers, personally I would have fueled up a little bit extra and went out on medium tyres and just set up like a banker soft lap and see how it was going, and then if the time was okay, do another one, you know, and then you could come in and get the soft tyres on for your final push. But just a couple of laps in, getting to know the track on those drier tyres, or the dry tyres as the track's evolving, gets you just so much information to take onto your soft run, that it could prove really effective for them. They had enough time, there was still plenty of time left, but now it would be very hit and miss whether you were to do that or not.
You know what time it is. You know what time it is. It's the calm before the storm, and that's why they can't go on those mediums, because they just don't have enough time. As everybody is in the pits, or at least majority of them, as Just Chillin has made his way out onto the circuit, are in the pits, just thinking about how they can attack this final push and preparing themselves for what is about to come up in the race. Now, before, when they were driving the intermediate tyres, they didn't need to worry about what tyres they were going to start the race on. Now they do. Now this is where the softs come into play here, and they have to think about, well, how quick can they actually go? They need to push as hard as ever before, and we'll see what they do when they come into the race. But more than one lap would not be ideal. Just Chillin's going to try and do a single lap, but he's out so early, I wouldn't be surprised if he tries more than one.
To be honest, JC's got enough time, because this track is so short. He could set this time, then come in for a new pair of boots, and then set another time. Which is what I was saying about
very fast.
It would have to be fast, but like, he's got 4 minutes to go. He's starting his hot lap just now, so that'll take him to about the 3 minute mark. Sorry, about the 2 minute mark, 2:30. So if he comes in, gets new boots, and goes, then does just do a fly over an outlap, then that he should be able to do that. But we'll see. He's obviously set the purple sector 1 because and he's invalidated. So he'll be coming in end of this lap, new pair of boots, and off he goes.
Yeah, I think he's got enough time for that for sure. He does need to make sure, though, that it's a clean intro and a clean outro. He can't afford to have any issues in the pit lane at all if he gets delayed by his teammate on his way out. Like, Copy needs to be coming out now in order to make sure this isn't a problem for JC. I'd be surprised if JC does come in. I think he might just stay out on these tyres, do another lap, and then just go. And then retire from the session a little bit earlier. We'll see. It's still mode 0 for now, which tells me he's not going for another push, and he's going to do exactly as you said, which is bring it in, change tyres, go out again.
Yeah, and to be honest, there's no point in staying out. If he stayed out on those and retired early, he's giving up so much lap time due to the track evolving. It would just, even if it was to set in a blinding time, by the time everyone else sets their times in, they're automatically gaining like 2 or 3 tenths. So yeah, it's the correct decision now to come in and get a new pair of boots.
Dennis Vyers is out on the soft tyres right now and on a hot lap. Now we know that he is a Twitch chat fan favourite, as we find out every single week. But is he going to be a qualifying favourite? Right now, P9, 1:17.058, and obviously the times are going to just get destroyed, so he will be P1, no doubt, for a little while. But how long will he be able to hold on to it for? Currently, if you compare it in relatively, he's going to be about P9 again with his teammate right there on the back of him in P10. It does help the fact that Bottas Gang, Yolta, Safso, and Buemels have not been able to improve, because obviously they retired. And also, Copy's not yet put a time in. So we'll see where he can do when he eventually gets out onto the circuit. But this is going to be a very interesting start to this Grand Prix regardless.
I mean, Copy, as far as I can see, is not even attempting to leave the pits yet. So here he comes now. I was about to say he's only got a few seconds, otherwise he's going to miss it. And that's both the Williams boys coming out together. So unless, yep, no, it is both of them. I think JC's managed to just get in right behind his teammate. So yeah, are they going for the slipstream, trying to help each other out? We'll see. But both of them now they need to push to get to the line. So JC getting a toll from Copy.
It looks like it. Yonti coming up to the line. He's going to be checking in the next fastest time, or at least he's going to be starting a new fastest time. He did improve. It was 4/10 improvement, but some idiot, he's made his name a 107.88899 with Zones beating it. I said earlier he needs to show up, and he's doing it, a 107.887. So now it's down to the others to improve. And Hypers has just started his hot lap, so he's somebody we would normally look to. You got Gooby coming to the line as well. He goes P4. We have a Ferrari that's just done a start of his lap as well, which is Pampernik with Yenab right there on the back of him.
Yep, Hypers actually took a very interesting line through the S's, so probably lost himself a tenth or two there, but I don't know if he was just trying to slow himself down to get on the toll. But
Pampernik and Yenab were going side by side in the running towards turn 4. Neither of them wanted to stop their qualifying run, but Pampernik had a bit of a wobble coming out of turn 3, which allowed Yenab to be that much faster. He has been hindered by Pampernik's hot lap, but I don't know how you fair that off, because they were both still doing the hot lap. There was no reason for either of them to need to lift. It just was so unfortunate for both of them.
Yeah, that's the danger of the track evolving at this late in the game. And here comes Hypers trying to set his time on 2 purple sectors, it seemed. Is he going to get a sector 3?
There he is. Wow. What a time. What a time that was. Get on, his teammate goes P6 right behind. We do have a Ferrari coming. It's Pampernik, followed by Yenab. Yenab won't improve much. He goes P10. So he's going to stay as is. We have a Ferrari, Red Bull coming to the line. That was Beaker. He's not going to go anywhere either. Now it's down to Brownie, the man of the hour. He's 7 seconds faster, but he only goes P7.
Here comes Copy and JC.
Oh, Copy. And JC P8. So look at the gaps though. Look at the gaps from like even from race leader, but from P4 onwards. They are so close together, right the way down to P12. We're talking 2/10. That's just how tight it is right now. And on a circuit like this, where the towing is massive, DRS is massive, the second sector is really the second sector as a whole is only the real place to charge ERS and fuel. It does contribute to the majority of the circuit, but the other 2 sectors are just continuous battles. We'll see how that fares off later, but we have a double pole in a 1-2. It's Hypers in pole position with a 107.742. Zones right on the back of him, just over a tenth in P2. Samidi at P3. Yonti P4. Copy P5. Dennis P6. Get on P7, just chilling P8. Felix P9. Danico P10, getting the final of that round out. And then Pampernik getting the best of the rest award, but also getting the opportunity to choose whatever tyres he should want to going into this race. We got Beaker P12, Yenab P13, Gooby P14, Bottas Gang P15, and then the DNFers following that. Oh, what a memory. That was all right. I'm glad I remembered that. But like we said before, it's a dry race, so the strategy is going to be a factor here. They have to think about how they're going to take this. Those in the top 10 will start on the tyres that they qualified on. All of them did softs runs, so they're definitely going to be there for sure. It's now, what do those outside of the top 10 do? Do they just start on the mediums, go into the softs, and then take it to the end of the Grand Prix? Or do they just stick with the strategy that the race leader is going to be on?
Honestly, I think they need to go the alternate strategy. It helps them out if there is any safety car. Obviously, gets them up through the field a little bit. So, I guess it depends when the safety car comes out. If it comes out for turn one, then they're screwed if they do the alternate strategy. But it's a bit of a gamble either way. If you do what everyone in the top 10 is doing, you're going to have to fight your way through the field, which a lot of these drivers would actually prefer. But if you do the alternate strategy, you have a chance to jump them in strategy rather than just on pace alone.
So the driver of the day voting will open at the beginning of lap 25. So bear that in mind. Unless that says 29. My eyesight is really bad today. Can't read things. But yeah, make sure you do exclamation mark vote in the chat later, and then you can vote for who you believe is going to be the driver of the day. Now, Safso is the only person outside the top 10 who's decided to go into the soft, so his strategy might be the surprise here that you're expecting.
I'm putting Safso there back in P3. He's going to do it. I believe.
All right, Hyper's P1, Zone's P2, Samidiot P3. Now, Samidiot has shown a great deal of promise when it comes to his pace, and I really, really, really want to see him smash it today and get himself onto another podium position. Ideally, another P2, maybe even knock down the championship winner.
Speaking of smashing, on the outlet or on the formation lap there, Hyper's already taking out one of the brake marker boards, or the DHL board. I didn't quite see which one he took out, but he's clearly just trying to mess with those behind him. But yeah, I would love to see somebody keep a podium. That would be it'd be good for him, and it's he's definitely he's a very fast driver, so getting to see him compete and fight and potentially even dethrone Hypers, this would be quite an achievement for him.
It would indeed then. So here we go. Everybody is in their grid boxes, ready to go for the second to last Grand Prix of the season. It's going to be Hypers leading us away, and immediately we are off. And it's going to be Hypers getting a beautiful start. I think Samidia's actually got a great start too. He has. He's going to be alongside Zones as we're coming towards turn one. He's got a very, very wide line through, and that's allowed Zones to just get right back into it. There's a bit of decent going on with some of the cars further back down the field, but this is looking so good for Hypers, who's got a very clean start. And Yonti in P4 trying to hold back Dennis.
Yep, he's doing a good job, Dennis, there. He's just managed to squeeze on past a little bit and slotted into position in P5 and just keeping in touch with Yonti. But that was a great start from Samandi. It never quite paid off once we got into turn two, but it was a good effort and kept it clean, which is the main thing. So everyone seeming to have no damage, no issues, and now they just need to buckle in and get ready for the rest of this race.
Copying P7, hunting down Getter. We're about to come towards the end of the first lap, and in terms of biggest winners, biggest losers, it's not as big a jump as I would have expected normally. It's Yolta and Buemos who've claimed 2 places, and the biggest loser so far, only by 1, is Gooby, who's lost 3 places. He's down in P17, he's going to have a lot to do to recover, and Safso now into dead last. This surprise had better be blooming amazing.
Well, he's not last anymore. He's just going side by side with Gooby, and then there he goes, taking the lead. I think he's actually, is he wearing this? Let me see his helmet. Trying to see what he said he had changed his helmet. It looked like it might be a Spanish flag or something. It's not really getting a good camera angle of it. But yep, I still believe he's going to get P3 today. I feel it in my bones.
In terms of the top 4, it's looking very comfortable. I mean, your Dennis is apparently 1 minute 11 behind. I can assure you he's not. He's actually still well within the DRS range of these guys ahead when it does get activated in a very, very short while. Get on P6. Everything's still to play for. Nobody is outside of the DRS range at all, and this is going to be probably like this at least for another couple of laps until we start to get a little bit feisty. But I can tell you something, the Williams boys are looking much better than I've seen them in a while. Copy has dropped back from where he started. Just Chillin has also done the same. He's dropped back a place or two, and now he has to work hard to get himself up the field and go far before they run out of DRS.
Yep, right now everyone's staying kind of roughly within half a second of each other. So the entire field right now has DRS activated. So unless Hypers can pull out a gap to zones for about another 7/10, he's going to be getting the slipstream and the DRS and potentially going for that race lead.
All right. Back to BAU, business as usual. Ferrari boys to P10, 11. They are working well together. There's actually a little bit of a clump up between a couple of the teams here. You got the Williams boys right next to each other. You got the Ferrari boys right next to each other, and you even have the Toro Rosso boys right next to each other too. They're gonna have to work hard together to be able to achieve greatness here. But I'm not sure what they can do to do this, because that's the problem you got. When you got a train as big as this, you can't really utilize the DRS and tow so much because everybody's got it. The only person who doesn't really have it is Race Leader, but he's currently doing well at holding everyone back.
Yeah, obviously they're now all going to be chasing him, and whatever he does, he'll be potentially having to use more ERS to hold them back. But you know, Hypers is such a quick driver that I think he'll probably even be able to hold them back without burning all the way through his ERS. It's just a case of when he decides to pit and if he's able to build up a gap during the pit stop phases. Because you know, if he pits early, manages to get the slipstream and DRS off a couple of the drivers who haven't yet pitted, he could end up storming his way through the field, and by the time everyone kind of fans back out to their own pit stops, he could already be 3 or 4 seconds away up the field and uncatchable.
Danico, P10, looking for JC. He's right on the back of him, and the Williams boys are actually starting to show a little bit of weakness. I was singing their praises earlier in hopes that it would magically work on them, but Copy's dropped outside of the DRS on Felix. Just Chillin is kind of sitting behind his teammate as well. You got to ask yourself, like, if you're feeling faster than your teammate, you need to coordinate. You need to let him go by and go for it. Not necessarily that is the case, because I've not really seen JC start to get too close to the back of his teammate. He is kind of the person who will maintain consistency and maintain a solid time, but not quite a record-breaking time, and that ultimately kind of is what I'm hoping to see from him going in towards F1 2020. He's had a lot of practice on it, and I want to see that replicate when it comes into the next season, but right here, right now, it's not working for him, but it is working for Yolta. Up into P13 now, got a long way to crawl back considering where his qualifying woes started, as he was on the inters, got collected by Bottas Gang, and Beaker is trying to go for it. But look at Beaker's ERS. It is non-existent. He is literally on 1%. He's got no hope in hell of fighting with Yolta. He's going to have to just turn it off, sit on the back of the Renault, and charge it all right back up.
I don't know how he's managed to get so low already. That's worrying that he's still not managed to make any headway through the pack if he's been dumping his ERS that much. But yeah, as you say, going back to JC, you know, he's very smooth on his inputs. You know, he's never using too much throttle. He's never using too much steering. He's always very precise in what he's doing. And in my personal opinion, this game does not really reward that style of driving at all. And I hope in the next game, because you know, you see a lot of real drivers like Jenson Button, for example, world champion driver, he is able to use that style.
Hold on thought, because Brownie's gone for a huge yeet down the inside there on Get Owned, and it paid off. That was a massive window that was left open, but I don't think Get Owned thought that the Brownie had an opportunity to just send it there. He absolutely nailed it down the inside. That was an incredible overtake, Brownie. Well done, sir. Pat on the back.
This is what I was saying about Brownie earlier. He's definitely got the talent. He's a very, very talented driver. He just, whenever he sees an opportunity, he will go for it. And he's very consistent in the way he does it. So it's always fair and clean.
Yeah. I mean, he's basically giving me a big fat go and make love to yourself kind of situation, isn't he, there from Brownie? I literally just criticised his driving earlier. I basically said how I want to see more from him. I want to see him start to show his face, really, in these Grand Prix. And then immediately he goes and sends a yeet like that straight down the inside to get on. So I'm not complaining. This is good stuff. And if it's as a result of me criticizing people that causes them to do that, brilliant. I don't think that's the case, because he surely would never have heard me say that. But I like to think it is. I like to think it's me.
Well, I really hope that someone manages to send a clip to him of you saying that you've got a big fat make love to you problem right now. So so if someone could send that to Brownie for me, please, that would be very appreciated.
Yeah, I'm sure he would love that. I have to give some credit to Zones, because he is hanging onto the back of Hypers. Yeah, of course, he's got the DRS and he's got the slipstream to assist him, but he's also not burning through his ERS. It's not like he's losing time in Sector 2 by any stretch of the imagination. He has better ERS than what Hypers has got. Naturally, that's going to happen when you're chasing a lead car who doesn't have any tow or DRS to work with, so he's going to have to burn that ERS. But, when you've got somebody who has that bit more natural pace anyway, Zone's being able to hang in on the back of him is a really good indicator that these guys are actually pretty there with him.
Yeah, and as we say, I mean, this track is definitely like a slipstream heaven. As you can see, everyone basically in the field is within the slipstream and getting the DRS, but here's Zones now. He's actually might be close enough to make a move, and Hyper's just going defensive then, hanging Zones around the outside, keeping it nice and tight and clean, and again, Hyper's just maintaining his position. But yeah, the Zones is getting right in there, and he's going to have another DRS straight where he can attempt it, and he's much closer now in this one. So Hyper's going to have to stay defensive and see if he can just hang Zones out round the outside. But here he goes round, and he's just holding it. Can he keep it on track? Keeps the position, they're side by side. Oh, so close and so tight, but Hypers manages to just edge him out. He's just got that little bit extra more confidence on the grip, and managed to maintain position. But that, as you say, Zones is doing a fantastic job to be able to stay with him, and Hypers just managed to maintain P1.
And not only that, it's actually that little scrap there has brought Hypers back just a touch. I mean, it's only a couple of tenths, but in a race like this, where the train is quite large, bringing anybody back closer to the rest of the pack is only going to favour those behind. Some idiot had such a close moment between zones where he could have gone for a send, but just couldn't quite get it in towards turn 6. Now he's here. DRS available for zones, DRS available for some idiot, and we're probably going to see a repeat of exactly what just unfolded.
Yep, this is the thing that Hypers has got to defend for, the rest of this race, really, unless he can find a way to break out of the DRS. And that's not an easy task, but it's something, as we say, he's going to have to deal with, as it looks like Dennis is potentially attempting to make a move on Yonte as well. But with everyone in here having DRS and slipstream, it's quite difficult to get the overspeed you need to make a send, but he's just decided to back out of that and hold position.
Yeah, it's still going, and what more could you ask for? For them to be continuously fighting like this makes it very enjoyable, to say the least. We'll monitor this, we'll see how they get on, but Hypers is not actually feeling as comfortable as he would normally be under these circumstances. Zones right there, ready to still keep going, and in terms of ERS, they are now even, that's the word I was looking for. Some idiot though, he's the one I want to watch here, because some idiot has got exactly what he needs in order to achieve it. He's already in a great place. He's the person who will take the tyres further than anybody else and will make the mediums run exceptionally fast. We'll see what he does. Yeah,
I mean, I'm having a look through the field just now at the current tyre choices, and the medium runners haven't really made much headway, and Danny right now sitting there in P12 is you would expect him to try and make a move on Yenab and Pampernik as well, but he's actually outside the DRS zone on Yenab.
Well, Pampernik on copy. He's going to go down the inside in towards turn 4. It's a very argy-bargy manoeuvre, but he has just about made it work. Copy will fall down to P10, but you got to ask, how on the limit was that? There was very much an elbow in his face there, forcing him out to the outside. There was just enough track for him to keep on it, but I mean, it's good racing. It's entertaining racing. On the limit racing is what I'd call it.
Yeah, it's I mean, sometimes around this track, you've got to get your elbows out, as Lewis Hamilton showed in the reveal race last year. Obviously, he got a penalty for that, and rightly so. He said it himself that it was a bit too aggressive and a bit too much. So he knew straight away that he was in trouble for that. But you know, around here, sometimes you just got, especially if you're making a move in Sector 2, you've just got to have nice big elbows.
Yeah, you definitely do. I'm sad to see Yonti in the scenario he's in. Like, he's pushing very hard, but he's also burning a hell of a lot of ERS just to stay with his top 3 pack. Because he's doing this, he's really ruining his race for later on. He's not going to be able to try and actually stay in this scenario. Look, but Mode 4 already, and he's keeping it in Mode 4 for such a long time that, yeah, we're in the braking zone, and yes, he's still here within the DRS range, but he can only do this for a couple more laps, and then he's going to have nothing to work with in the same way that Beaker was, and now look where Beaker is.
Yeah, I mean, it seems that mismanagement of DRS is a big issue in this game, and it's unfortunate because, especially around a track like, you know, this track and Singapore and things like that, somewhere where you're pretty much always turning, you know, it's very difficult to try and get everything in the exact mode you want. It's, oh, Dennis's back end just steps out there. I thought he was potentially going to be able to make a move on Yonti, with Yonti slightly struggling on his ERS, but final corner, Dennis just makes a slight move and it hypers into the pits.
Hypers into the pits indeed. So 11 laps in, almost 12 actually, before he decides to chuck onto some mediums. We'll decide whether or not that's going to be too long a distance. 24 laps to go in order to take these to the end. And this is where we see some idiot start to come into his element. We saw this before, not just in this league, but in ERS as well, where some idiot did take the softs very far, in particular in Mexico, was able to then go into the mediums and then nailed it throughout the remainder of the Grand Prix to then take the W. Can he replicate the same today from softs to mediums a little bit later on?
I don't think it's worth it, if I'm perfectly honest. Right now, Hypers is going to have a few laps of cleaner, and he'll be able to try and catch up to the back of the pack. And when he does, he'll get slipstream and DRS, and he'll potentially be gaining a little bit more per lap. And also now Zones is not going to be getting the DRS. It will be slowing down the kind of front runners a touch. So if someone in it does not pit now, that he's not going to gain much in terms of, because like the medium tire is going to the end.
Well, some idiot stays out doing his usual strategy. Brownie in a similar boat, and Get Owned is following suit, along with Pampernick, who's on the mediums, but Just Chillin' also out on the softs, still staying out too. This is good news for some people, bad news for others, but we don't know exactly who those are, because Hypers obviously is coming early. I'll say early, he's coming when he felt was the right time on lap 12. Decided to go into the mediums then, and now he's going to carry them further out. These guys are going to lose time, that's almost guaranteed. The fact that they're still on these softs at this point in time, whilst the tyre wear is going to be severe, obviously the temperatures are going to start to kick up a bit easier, the back ends are going to step out, likelihood for penalties to kick in is also increasing, and that's something these all have to manage, and that's the difference between the good and the great drivers. Yeah,
and you know, one of the things that we can trust for Hypers is that he's already won the championship, but his determination to do well means that I know that he will have, despite having already won, he will have practiced this track, he'll have practiced his strategy, he'll have tried a bunch of different things, he'll have set the car up just the way it should be, he'll have helped out Get Owned, and they will have done some practice together. And I know he's got a lot of other things on just now with his trying to get his schoolwork and everything done, but he's the type of guy that you can trust to continually put in that practice. So I'm very confident in the fact that he's already done the maths. He knows the exact lap that you should come in because it'll the crossover point, and there's no doubt in my mind that he's timed this to perfection.
Well, we'll find out. You can see
medium tires.
Yeah, you can see where the others are. Somebody is obviously he stayed out a couple of laps longer. And now has fallen down to what is effectively P4, but we are yet to see these guys come in. Pampernick is now leading this Grand Prix from Just Chillin', who's the longest running driver so far on the softs, along with Savso behind him. Yenab did lose out to JC on that home straight. A very nice simple overtake with the DRS in towards turn 1 for JC, and he's already closing in on the back of Pampernick. This is good sign for JC. If he's able to keep his softs feeling this comfortable this late on and actually still be faster than mediums at this point, This shows his tire management skills are on point. So when he goes in, which is probably going to be at the end of this lap, he'll go onto the medium tires and will be in a very good position come the end of the race. This is the marathon style of racing. This is not right here, right now. This is later on. He will be much better off.
Yep, and it looks like Yanab's now just getting out in that second position as JC comes in. Probably the right call. If JC was still setting the same times as the medium runners around him, which is a good, time to be putting on. A good time for the crossover. We know now that the medium tyres was about a second faster because Hypers has done that, been putting in those times. So JC could still have a really good race from here.
I'm hoping so. I'm praying for him that he has a really good race because he needs it. He deserves it. This guy works his backside off, not just for practicing, but I mean in terms of the whole league as a whole. This guy, I owe him a lot along with Beaker. So if I could see him be repaid in some small manner by getting a really solid result due to his pace, that'd be amazing. However, it's down to him to decide how that pans out. Buemel's in P5 on the back of Beacon. This is where the medium people have actually started to come into their own a little bit, and they're playing a very different strategy. Safso has stayed out on the softs, and he's going to need to think about his end game. I think now maybe he's gone a bit too far on the softs. I think now the benefit of being on the softs this late and then what he's going to get at the end on the mediums has been outweighed, and I don't think it's for the better. And he's actually staying out for another lap.
See, Safso's actually playing this to perfection because, as I say, Safso is getting P3, and so what he's doing right now is he's driving out there. There's going to be a safety car. He's going to be able to come in, and somehow everyone else is going to want to come in and put softs back on because people are silly, and he's going to maintain position of P7, and then he's just going to fly through the field as everyone's soft tyres come off. So, yep, it's a hero move from Safso. He's getting that P3.
I mean, that's a story and a half, to say the least. Zan's having to give the position back to Hypers. If that happened, then Zapso needs to go buy a lottery ticket because that is incredible amounts of luck. I don't see that happening, is the truth, honest answer.
It's calculated, I'll say. Calculated.
Yeah, calculated dot. Zones on the back of Hypers. Remember, this is a P1-2, and it has been for a little while. Zones has actually been showing a lot of pace, but now Hypers has the DRS on Safso. This is going to work wonders for helping him defend, but Hypers' back end stepped out a little bit there, which will slow him down just a touch, but it won't really matter too much, as Zones will not be able to close in just yet.
Yep, and it depends how fast Zones can get past Safso here, because Hypers has made a big move. Is he desynced again?
Yeah, bit of a network alert, it looks like. Oh, Safso, he's getting swarmed. That was very nearly some contact between him and Yonti, I believe that was. Yes, it was. Scary times, scary moments. We are still yet to see the top 6 pit. Well, I will imagine that will be around about lap 24-ish.
Yep, well, I mean, they might be looking at Safso and be like, well, maybe we can pit a wee bit earlier and get those soft tyres on. Look how long he's keeping these running. But the pace is certainly gone from Safso.
Yeah. And he's not in a position to fight either. That's the problem. Now he's at a point where he's trying to do the long game, and I don't know how he makes this work now. I hope this surprise he has is a monumental surprise, because it needs to be. P10, whilst he's not yet pit, and he's got people that have pit passing him, and he's already about to be passed as well by more people who have also pit. I don't see a way out of this for Safso now. I think this is a big problem.
Yeah, I think he needs to pit this lap, but we'll see. We'll see. He loves baiting us, so nope, he's in. He's in this bit. Maybe a lap or two late. Yeah, potentially. It's actually been a remarkably clean race, though. I don't think I've seen any wing damage. I've not seen any kind of major lockups or anything. Everyone seems to be, a little bit of, rubbing his racing going along for a couple of moves, but everyone's not kept their car without any damage, any major incidents, no major spins, so it's all looking fine.
Well, now you've said it, it's going to go wrong. We'll see if it does actually do so. But yeah, like you say, it's been pretty clean, consistent so far. Not really seen any sort of moments of Code Brown just yet. There was maybe a small moment between Hypers and Zones as they came through turn 4. Other than that, it's been pretty clean, pretty consistent. Can't really complain at all, but there is 2 mega trains going on right now. You've got the train from P3 onwards to P6, and then you've got the train from P7 right the way down to P13, which is being backed up by Dennis Vyers. We'll see if he's got a game plan here, because he's currently losing a lot of time, and he hasn't got a lot of ERS to play with, and Zones is going on hypers, and he's got him.
Yep, Zones has made the move finally, and now it's just, I'm going to imagine Hypers is going to just bide his time a little bit here. But just a quick one, did Gooby get damage? He's actually been on those tyres for 13 laps, and I doubt he came in that early for his normal pit stop, and it's quite a long way back, so did we potentially miss an instant with Gooby?
I'm not sure, he has done 2 pit stops though.
It's interesting.
So I assume that there has been an incident. Zone's getting a penalty. This could be massive, and especially with the train being as close as it is for such a long way back, he's going to lose a lot of positions should the gaps stay as they are. Who knows how that's going to pan out. We've still got plenty of laps to go. I can't wait to see this one finish.
Yep, and Hypers is actually sitting there at 94% ERS. I think he potentially let Zones go. Zones is burned through ERS to about 50%. It's now dropping more. He's on the 35, going down. So I think Hypers has deliberately let Zones by to have him blast through his ERS. And then once he's done that, he's going to take him again and build up that gap, because Zones will not be able to fight him if he doesn't have the ERS to do so.
So, I'm not sure. I mean, Hypers would do that. That is the kind of game plan he would take to this sort of circuit. Zones, I think he was more trying to assert dominance over Hypers. I don't think he realizes just how much Hypers is actually letting him get away with. But again, it comes down to now, how does Zones play this one out? In Sector 2, it's a very difficult area to overtake. Not that doesn't mean he won't go for it. But he can also charge a lot through here in terms of his ERS and also fuel. So it's not all doom and gloom here for Zones. I think he still has a way out of this. He just has to make sure he doesn't make a wobble or a mistake. And he also has to try and accommodate for the fact he's got a 3-second time penalty.
Yep, and I think right now, I think Zones is in trouble. I think Hypers is kind of playing with him a little bit. Because once Hypers sees that potentially that ERS, if he's down in about 30% zone, if Hypers manages to get the overtake done and then just dump his ERS from 100%, he could definitely get out with that 1 second margin. He's got the talent to do it, and he has the tools to do it. So just depending on where he picks his moment to decide, okay, that's me, I'm done, and off he goes into the distance.
Yeah, 3/10 is the gap between Zones and Hypers, and Zones hasn't really recharged his battery as much as I would have thought he had, but then again we have just gone through a very fast area of the circuit, so I am actually seeing the numbers climbing back up to a very healthy amount. He just has to maintain that and not let Hypers back through. He should theoretically be able to make this very comfortably further in. Summit is the one I want to watch more than anybody, because that further push on the softs does benefit him quite massively, in the same position as it does for Felix and Get Earned.
Yeah, but it's how much time he really actually gains with just a lap or two extra tyre wear. It's there will definitely be a benefit, but whether there's anything he's able to do with it, it's not a different compound of tyre. It's the same tyre, it's just a little bit fresher. And whether he's actually able to utilise that, it'll be hard to see. But I mean, he's so low on ERS that's going to be damaging his lap time more than pitting a lap or two earlier. So he really needs to try and save up his ERS and stick with this pack.
So Yenab just chilling. We saw them trading places earlier when it was just chilling passing Yenab. Now Yenab's on the softs, he's feeling great. But he is in him and Pampernik, Pampernik, Wemmels, Beaker. It's doable, but is it worth it?
It's.
I gotta go with no, right?
Yeah, I mean, you saw how
Oh,
much time
Yota,
Safo
what a
lost.
lunge. Sorry, he's gone on Daniko, straight down the inside. Bit of a wobble on the exit there, and that's caused Daniko to get right back through. More contact, more wobbles. Off track there for Yota. Surely he's got to give that position back, because that was... he was off track as that unfolded, and it looks like he has given it back. Yes, he has, but now he can go again. As soon as the nose is through, he can clearly run away, but Daniko having the DRS available to him does mean he will resume back into P15. And that was a lunge, and he's going again, straight towards turn 1. He's going to get the line on the inside. That's going to be so much better for him. Daniko tried to keep himself there for turn 2's inside, but Yota's just got that bit more grip, that bit more momentum, and despite the DRS being available for Daniko, Yota's going to hold on to that position.
Yep, and Hyper's just doing exactly what I said he was going to do. He started pushing zones now, making sure that he's seeing Hyper's nose every now and then, and that ERS was dropping. It was when he crossed the line, it was actually down under about 20%. So, Hyper's is just easing up close to him, making sure he can see the nose, and backing out. So, Zones is definitely feeling the pressure more than Hypers did when he was in the lead. And you can see now Hypers is already down to mode 0, but he's just getting so close to the back of Zones that he's just he's using that little bit extra ERS, and now he's got the second straight to try and contend with and keep Hypers behind him. But as I say, I don't think Hypers actually wants to overtake yet. I think he's just teasing Zones right now.
Yeah, exactly. Zones, I think, is feeling more confident than he probably should be right now. Yonti and Samidiot there, I don't think they actually realise just how comfortable they are. The race engineers will inform them, of course, that Zones does have a time penalty, so that will favour them later. But it's... how do you play this one out? Do you just sit in line and accept that you're going to be wherever you are? Do you wait until later before you start to get a little bit more fired up and go for it? Like I say, Hypers, 100% charge on his ERS. His feet are up. He's just relaxing in his little hammock that he's got going on in that Mercedes right now. Yonti is not in the same boat at all. He's also struggling when it comes to ERS. He's averaging around about 35 to 36% on ERS throughout this race. And Samidiot in a similar situation too. He's also just trying to stay with this, trying to use the DRS, and Yonti's actually losing place as Hyper's gone down the inside, and now Zones has actually been allowed to do what he wants here.
Yep, but this is the point where if Hypers just keeps his ERS high and dumps it, he should now be able to build up enough of a gap. But this is actually really quite good as well for Brownie. Brownie's got a lot of ERS to play with, and if he starts able to try and make his way through the pack and just pick off one driver at a time, and then in the final few laps just try and get through and make a gap, he'll be able to do that because everyone else in front of him is kind of struggling in ERS.
Driver of the Day voting is now open. Type !vote in the chat if you would like to cast your vote for who your Driver of the Day is. Now, you will need to click a link. You will need to go into a Google Docs form and then fill it out to submit it. Majority of the time it's Dennis, but last week it was corrupted, so he didn't get it because people were spam voting for an individual. Of course, if that does happen again today, then the Driver of the Day vote will be null and void. So please vote once. Please vote with your brains. We'll see who actually gets it and who deserves it. Felix, though, he's looking like a really strong candidate for a Driver of the Day vote. Right here on the back of this massive train for the race lead, race win, potentially. It all goes down to who's going to do what and where. Zones is closing back in on Hypers. He's had a bit of time to charge his ERS, but he's not quite got into a position he needs it to be. Same for Yonti and same for Samidiot. This is probably the talk of the hour right now. How are they going to pull this out? Buemos is looking for just chilling around the outside of turn 4, but he's not going to get it. Bit more grip on the tyres for Buemos as he's got the softs. A big tank slapper there for just chilling. He caught it beautifully, but Buemos had an opportunity to go, decided against it.
Yeah, and I'm just, I think, Hypers right now, he's still saving a lot of ERS. I thought he would dump around half of his charge just to try and get out of that 1 second margin, but looks like he's just quite happy to pull this train along. He's not trying to make any hero moves and build up a gap and finish 15 seconds in front of the field. So he's just quite happy to maintain position and then charge his ERS I mean, you can see how early he's setting it back to mode 0 down that straight, despite not having the DRS or a tow. So he's just keeping that charge nice and high, and then in sector 2, getting it all back and getting back up to 95%. So it's all working out well for Hypers, but Zones is very close, and Zones definitely wants to keep pushing Hypers, but at the moment it doesn't look like he's been put into any sort of position that makes him feel uncomfortable.
Now look at Pumpernick. He's 6 laps in on these softs, and he's actually only 1.5 seconds away from this train for race lead. We've seen Pumpernick do this strategy before, and we've seen him pull it off. We've also seen him go a little bit too aggressive on some of the attacks, so we'll see how he attacks this. When he did it beautifully on Dennis there into turn 4, Dennis did just kind of get stuck out there and had nowhere else to go. Wemmels is kind of trying to be the better of the sister teams. Gap is a bit too much for him, and between him and the actual Red Bull driver, Dennis. Wemmels being on these softs, you'd have thought that he'd be a lot more comfortable than the 2 Williams ahead of him, but something just doesn't feel right for him.
Yeah, and you can see there Brownie just having a look to see if he can make pass, but he can't. But yeah, I mean, as you were saying about Pumpernick, I think the problem he faces right now is that obviously with everyone in the DRS train, it's going to be a little bit harder for him to overtake the guys in front of him, and then it's going to be a little bit harder again come the end of this race, because as you say, those tyres are now 7 laps old, and by once they're like 13, 14 laps, I mean, you saw how much time Safso was losing, and these medium tyres, they should still be pretty fresh towards the end. Still, I mean, Hypers has been setting in 1 minute 10s the entirety he's been on this stint. Even if he was to drop off half a second, a little bit more than that, that's still a second faster than what Safso was able to do on that age of tyre. So Pumpernick might have just called this slightly too early if he's wanting to try and make a push for the win.
Possibly, but the one thing you can never count out when it comes to Pumpernick is his aggressive nature. He is someone who will find a gap like this one that he's about to have on Get Earned, and he's going to take the gap. He's going to definitely see a window of opportunity. It's not going to be through turn 1. It's not going to be through turn 2. It doesn't look like it's going to be through turn 3 either, but it does look like turn 4 is very much his to take. He's got the better toe. He's got the better grip. He's got the inside line in towards turn 4. It's going to be a bit of a lunge, but he's made it work a little bit. Get Earned getting a little bit out of shape and getting forced off the circuit there. Bit aggressive as we expected, but we'll see if that was fair enough.
Yeah, I mean, as we say, Max Verstappen, very much so. Aggressive nature shows you the wheel, and it leaves it up to you whether you're to have a crash or to get out of the way. So, but a lot of Michael Schumacher was the same. It leads to exciting racing, watching him go around and to make the calls, and to do what he does. So we'll see. It looked, as you said before, it looked a bit borderline, but probably within the rules. So we'll see how he can get through the rest of this pack.
Some idiots actually getting very close to the back of Yonti there. For a moment, there was looking like a potential overtaking opportunity to come up, but no. Zones, though, he's feeling leery, he's feeling daring, and he's about to send one on the inside of Hypers, I think. Coming into I thought he was going to go straight into the back of him. There was a very clear Code Brown moment for both of those drivers there. That very nearly ended up with a broken front wing and a damaged gearbox there for Hypers, but still. How Zun stopped himself from getting into the back of that Mercedes there, I'm not sure. That was very entertaining, to say the least.
Yep, that was millimetre perfect, shall we say. But yeah, I mean, Hypers was forced to use a little bit more ERS than he has been for the rest of this race. So a few more laps like that, giving Hypers a good push, that could turn this into the Zones' favour and allow him to potentially get this race win.
Wemmels has been stuck behind the Williams boys for quite a while. He's not actually been able to attack, despite how close he is. He's not really been able to do anything, and that is still for a point position if you think about it, because Copy is P10, and there is very much a gap there for him to take it should he want to. but he's not, and that's the worrying part for him now. Zuds, is he going to go again? No, he's not. He's decided to sit back. You got to wonder, like, when does he go? I mean, he's got a 3-second penalty, so at the moment he's going to fall to P6 unless the drivers behind get a penalty. Pampernick is ready to go on Brownie. Oh, he almost hit the back of him as well, but he didn't, and he might go for a send on the inside. Yes, he is. Of course he is. He sees a window, he sees a gap, he sees an opportunity, and he's not yet really got it yet. I think he's going to have to just hold the pace. He can't do that. Brownie's got it back. Very fair, aggressive defending there from Brownie, and a good attempted maneuver from Pampernick, and it didn't work out for him in the end.
Yep, and as we say, Brownie's got a very good head on his shoulders when it comes to these things. He's very calm and consistent and knows exactly where to place the car, so that was excellent done from him. But Pampernick's going to be coming up to him again and trying to make this move stick. He's got those tyres, he's got the DRS, he's got the slipstream, and it's just whether he can gain enough. It depends on his wings. Doesn't look like he can make a dive into the turn 1 here, but just to go back quick to Buemos, he's actually got 6 seconds of penalties.
Oh dear.
Yeah, he really needs to get a move on, but the Williams boys always seem to be, tied together on a knot, and just a bit of lag from Brownie as he falls back into Pampernick's. They're ghosted through each other, and that's actually just going to be a free position to Pampernick because of that lag. But Brownie's making a lunge up the inside again to get his position back, and
he's got
looks
it.
like he's actually pulled it off. What a move! What a move!
Exactly. His network says, nope, you can give that to Pampernick. And Felix says, oh, hell no. Pampernick's going again, straight down the inside. This is very much a Hamilton-Albon moment. But this time, nobody gets rotated. And again, Brownie still fending him off. And he's given as good as he's getting. And that is very fair defensive driving there from Brownie. And how he's managing to stay in this train for the battles ahead of him and still be in a good overtaking opportunity as well is just amazing.
Yeah, as I said, we know he's a talented driver. We know he's got the pace and the consistency and the ability. It's just incredible to see it in such a close battle and still not losing time to the guys in front. It's incredible driving.
Buemos has lost. He was fighting with just chilling to try and get the position, and it's all over for him. He will not be continuing this Grand Prix. He has decided enough is enough. So the only DNF of this race so far. We do still have 3 laps to go, but so far, nobody's showing any signs of weakness. Never mind, I've just said that, and Zones has immediately lost the back end of his car. He's caught it again. He's holding on to P2, but that gap between him and Hypers is starting to extend, and Yonti is starting to get a bit more comfortable and ready to attack. ERS of 41% for Yonti, 42% for Zones, Hypers on 62. So he's really, really in a good position. Every time I say it, somebody makes a mistake. Yonti losing the back end. This is allowing Sumidit with much more ERS, much more DRS, much better exit to get onto the gearbox of Yonti. Is there going to be a ascended opportunity? I think he might wait for turn 4 movements potentially, but 7/10 is the gap between Yonti and Zones. Yonti's got a lot to figure out here.
Yeah, and that's definitely not worked out well for Yonti. It's just one mistake, and it's potentially going to be costing him a podium position. But right now, he's managed to maintain it, and hopefully he can get up to the back of Zones once more. And if he can gain on Zones, the better it'll be for him come the end of this race. But as you said, Pampernick's sitting ready at the wings. Brownie's sitting ready to go. Everyone here is just so close, and everyone's just eager to watch someone make one mistake and then pick up the pieces.
Yeah. And it's, again, Pampernick who is ready to go, ready to fire one. His tyres are starting to give out on him now as he's 13 laps in. We saw people pitting on less than this to get onto a medium set of tyres. So, the grip is definitely not optimal for him anymore. He's going to have to try and utilize the toe, utilize the DRS, and just figure out a way down the inside should one be available to him. But because this toe is so strong for everybody in front of him, he's not going to be able to actually go for an attack. Or is he? He's looking for a move, but he can't quite get it. And Brownie, defending like a champion, is holding on to P5 for now. But don't yet count your chickens, because again, DRS available. Again, he's looking for a move. Brownie's squeezing into the inside. He shuts the door at the right time, and Pampernick gets onto the grass and almost loses his car, but he's caught. He's ran wide on the exit of turn 4 in towards turn 5, and now Brownie's getting away. Pampernick will stay P6. And you've got to give so much praise to Brownie on how well he's defending just right for somebody who's so ready to send it through any crack of window.
Yeah, for me, Brownie's he's placed that car meticulously every single lap to maintain his position. Even when his network was, fighting against him, he managed to fight back. He's just doing such a good job. But as you say, these tyres for Panpernick, they're definitely going to be sitting around the 45-50% mark now. They're well past their prime. So we'll see if he's able to gain a position or two. But right now, as it stands, he'll be gaining on Samidiat because of the time penalty that Samidiat has. But for the rest of the field, it doesn't look like he can make a move. And that's Hypers with a 3-second time penalty for multiple warnings.
Yonti's going to get the win here. Yonti's going to get the win here. I didn't think I was going to say that today. Yonti, if he can keep it clean, I don't think he has a penalty, right?
Yonti does not have a penalty, no.
So he's got the win.
Yonti will get the win. Yonti has the win currently.
Oh, this is going to be amazing. Hypers P1, Zones P2, 8-10 separating the two of them. Yonti has just learnt, or is about to if he hasn't already, that he's about to win this Grand Prix. Samidiat has a 3-second time penalty, which I'm told is going to be appealed, so we'll see whether or not that does in fact get that. But that would mean that as a result, Yonti will go P1, Brownie will go to P2, and then P3 will be whichever one of these three.
Panpernick.
Well, it'll probably be Hypers, wouldn't it? Has Panpernick got a penalty?
Nope. Panpernick does not have penalties, and he's within the 3 seconds of Hypers.
Right, well, here we go then to the line. Hypers will cross the line first, but he will not stay there, as here comes Ernst, and there goes Yonti to take the win. Brownie gets P2, Panpernick getting P3, considering where he started. 8 places gained for him. He has loved this Grand Prix, and he's now up to P3. Hypers will finish P4, Zones P5, Samidiat provisionally P6 until his penalty is reviewed and potentially removed. There's no confirmation of that for sure yet. We'll see when the stewards get a hold of it. But Yenab getting P7, Dennis getting P8, Geund getting P9, and Williams getting the final point in the form of copy, with Just Chilling getting best of the rest. Beaker P12, Bottasgang P13, Yolter 14th, Danico 15th. Although, is it going to be... Yeah, he's slowly coming to the line. He's pinballing a little bit. There he is. Safso being the final of the drivers to pass. And he will finish in a P16.
I don't think he's going to finish. I think he's going to deliberately hit the wall. No. That could be in the surprise. What a finish. What a finish.
And when, for the first time in a few races... obviously excluding USA because he wasn't there, we're not going to have Hypers in the interview room. Or on the podium for that matter.
He's been captain consistency for a long time now, but now just that final mistake on that last lap cost him a win.
Yeah, it really, really did. So Yonti gets the win and Brownie gets P2. Panpernick getting P3, and they are the captain consistencies for today, and they get the biggest points as a result. Hypers gets P4, Zones gets P5, Samidiat P6, Yena P7, Dennis P8 with Get on P9, Copy getting the final point. Just Chilling getting best of the rest with Beaker P12, Bottasgang P13, Yolter 14th, Danico 15th, Safso 16th, Gooby in 17th place, and our only DNFer of the race is Buemels, which leaves me with the final question for you, sir. Who is your driver of the day?
It has to be Brownie. That was incredibly well defended, incredibly well driven. Just you've done a fantastic job up from P9. Straight onto the podium, up in P2 there. He was fighting for the win with Yonti for all the way. Yeah, that was just a fantastic drive. And credit to Panpernick as well. That was an incredible drive from him. But just from the defensive battle that he had against Panpernick, I would say that Brownie just edges out.
Yeah, same. I think it's very, very close. They both absolutely deserve it, but I think Brownie just edges it out that little bit more because he had to defend whilst attacking away from Panpernick. He did such a good job of keeping Panpernick at bay, and I think he absolutely deserved it. I was so impressed with how well he held everybody from behind. You got to give it to him. But the driver of the day in the Twitch chat votings goes to Yonti with a 29.4% of the votes. Brownie getting P2 with 23.5%, and Hypers gets P3 with 17.6%. So, that was a stunner of a race. Now we're going to go to the interviews, and we're going to have a chat with, hopefully, if he's there, Pampernik first. Let's see if I can grab him. Pampernik, where are you? I'm looking for you. You are not in your team chat, so I can't talk to you. Okay, I'll ignore you and go on to P2. Next up is Brownie then, in that case. Brownie. Is that Brownie?
Yep.
My dude. P2. Did you expect to be getting P2 at the end of that Grand Prix?
To be honest, I should have won this.
Oh, okay.
On pace, but my qualifying was once again atrocious. So yeah, and I couldn't overtake because of the DRS train. I don't know what was going on. I'm asking Hypers if he had damage.
I don't think he did. He just got a penalty.
Hypers didn't have damage though. No damage. He was just. I think he was trying to maintain his ERS advantage, and that kind of cost him a little bit.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know. Toxic
okay.
Again.
Well, I mean, I want to ask you about your strategy, because you took the softs a lot further than I expected you to. I was thinking you was going to pit around the same time as Hypers, but you decided to stay out a little bit longer. Were you always going to do that? Did you expect to be doing that?
No, I was. The pace was just so slow that I was saving tires. That's why I went longer. I thought I could do an overcut.
I mean, it seemed that the undercut seemed to be the better strategy. At least that's the way it looked like from when Hypers managed to get in and get out again. But, you know, that penalty at the end there made a massive difference to the race itself. He actually knocked him completely out of podium running position. He was in race win position until he went for the fastest lap on the final lap. So, big sad for him. But still, huge points for you, huge points for the team. And you got to be feeling good after that.
Yeah. Well, let's see. It will probably be P3 after penalty removal, because I saw Cody getting punted off in turn 2. But it's a bit complicated because he should have lost that place to me. I don't know. We will see.
Well, either way, regardless, on the day, on the hour, you managed to successfully bring a P2. Next week is Abu Dhabi. It's the final Grand Prix of the entire calendar. Is it a track that you are good at?
Not exactly, but my race pace is okay.
Yeah? So if I say, can I have a prediction, what are you going to give me?
Maybe a podium.
Okay. All right, yeah. That's positive. I would like to see another podium. I was saying beforehand, I don't know if you actually heard my feedback. I was actually slating you slightly in terms of your driving, and every person I was doing that to immediately was slapping me back again and showing some serious pace. So I'm glad that you was able to slap me back, and I'm really pleased that you managed to secure a solid P2. And thank you, as always, for the interview, and I look forward to seeing you race in our final race next week.
Thank you. I'm looking forward to it too.
Brilliant. Let's now get our boy Yonti in here, the race winner. Mr. Yonti, how are you doing?
I'm good, thank you.
You feeling, was you singing? Was there a moment of song?
This time it was, yes, actually.
Yeah, I mean, you deserved it. I mean, let's be honest. You did exactly what you needed to. It wasn't the easiest of races, was it? Let's be honest. I mean, you were struggling on ERS. Your pace was there, but you were slowly dropping back every now and then, and you was almost to the point of losing DRS. Was there a moment of doubt at any point in that race?
No, I mean, I felt I was able to keep up with the top two. They were actually fighting from time to time as well, which helped. But in my mind, I only had to stay within that DRS and keep it penalty free, which was kind of difficult. I had 2 warnings in the first stint and then nothing on the second one, so I was able to keep it that way, luckily.
Well, you still secured a solid win, and I imagine you were given the news via your race engineer at the point, and you're saying, By the way, you're currently going to win because of that penalty. Was that how you figured it out?
Yeah, actually, when it was 3 laps to go, I had actually Shanaka was my race engineer. He had wheel difficulty, so he wasn't able to race today. But he was my engineer today, and I told him to be quiet for the 3 last laps because I really needed to concentrate and not make mistakes. I had one mistake going out of the so-called last corner where I nearly lost the DRS again, close to the end. I told him to be quiet, and then during the second to last lap, I think he just whispered to me that Hypers has a 3 second as well. And I was like, okay, thank you. And on the final lap, I was quite sure I was gonna have that after turn 1, 2, 3.
Well, amazing stuff regardless. You did very, very well to achieve what you achieved. I'm so glad to congratulate you on your race win. Very well done. Next week, though, is Abu Dhabi. What prediction for finishing have you got?
It really depends who's attending, but I feel myself, I feel like I can have pretty good pace around Abu Dhabi as well, and I hope to be somewhere close to the top again. We'll see next week.
Brilliant. Well, thank you very much for today's race. It's been an absolute pleasure, as always, to see you race, and I look forward to seeing you next week in Abu Dhabi.
Thank you.
And that's it for the Rwagnation League Grand Prix here in Brazil. It's been an absolute pleasure to commentate for you. I've been Ben Raggy McConnell, and joining me has been the incredible Horn Badger. Thank you, sir, as always, for commentating with me. You are a lad, and I look forward to commentating our final race of the season in Abu Dhabi next week. See you then.